Mirror's Looking 23, and you're joining me for Open Heart, 3rd year, Chapter 5, Too Late. Time freezes as you, Ethan, and Harper stare at Bloom's new addition to the team. Just the warm welcome I was expecting. Anyone up for a group hug? Tobias, are you lost? I mean, I know Edenbrook is hard to navigate, but to lose your way from Mask Enmore... Don't worry, I'm exactly where I want to be, meeting my new teammates for my new job at Edenbrook. But you're right, Edenbrook is hard to navigate. How do you manage it, Ethan? Grins nonchalantly at Ethan. Ethan, for his part, looks furious, but keeps calm as he turns to Bloom. It's good to see you, Tobias. May I ask what you think you're doing, Leland? Like I said, stepping in to save the team and help make it the best it can be. With all due respect, that was not your decision to make. You asked me to choose the best candidate. Yes, and how long did I give you to make that choice? Ethan opens his mouth and then closes it again. Exactly, you waited too long and got too finicky looking for the perfect candidate, and as you know, the perfect is the enemy of the good, yes, so you keep saying. Anyway, since you couldn't pull the trigger, I had to step in on behalf of the team. And wouldn't you know it, he found the perfect candidate. We'll see. In the meantime, I found a new case for us. The patient... Ethan trails off angrily as, well, instead of leaving, Bloom takes a seat in the corner, settling down and getting comfortable. Bloom is planning to stay for this. It's confident patient info. I should... pretend he's not here. Technically, he's the Dean of Medicine, if you want to look at it that way. Fill us in on the case, Ethan. Ethan tears his angry gaze from Tobias and Bloom to focus on you. The patient was admitted to the emergency. Actually, I'm sorry, but with all due respect, Mr. Bloom, we're about to discuss patient information. So if you don't mind... Information I have total access to. I'm here to observe the team in action. If you have a problem with that, well, you can take it up with the chain, but I doubt the man at the top will see it your way. See, this is why I didn't say nothing. Ethan sucks in a deep breath, eyes pinch closed, then hands you all charts, pointedly averting his gaze from Bloom. Patient is male 49, experiencing intermittent headaches, but in the last few days he's also been experiencing muscle weakness. This morning he suffered a seizure, which resulted in a hospitalization. He's currently resting to recover from the effects. Any report of recent head injuries or other trauma? Even ER docs would catch that. There could be an unusual presentation of multiple sclerosis. That'd be fun. I'm sorry, did you just describe multiple sclerosis as fun? Intellectually speaking, for us, yes. Plus, unusual cases are the stuff of journal articles, right? We're dealing with human beings, Tobias. Not a bullet for your resume. What about a tumor? Ethan turns to Harper, calming himself with obvious effort. Admitting physicians ordered brain scans, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. It might not be neurological at all. What about an electrolyte imbalance? It's a possibility. Run some blood tests. The ER doctor would check for that too. Is that all? Aren't we going to take a biopsy to check for MS? A brain biopsy before we've ruled this out. Why don't you just cut him open? Poke around in his skull for more fun. Actually, I was going to suggest that, but I figured you'd be prissy about it. Typical that you go straight to the invasive procedure just to get that flashy solve. Just as typical that you'd waste time running every test in the book rather than getting straight to the point. A biopsy only rules out one possibility. Meanwhile, a chemical imbalance or a parasite or even a tumor the first scan missed could be... Oh, sure. Everything else might be the problem. Why not look for smallpox while we're at it? Oh, and for one of those rare bubonic plague cases you always see on TV shows. You're missing the point. We're not here to... Hey. Ethan's right. We can't just assume we know what the problem is and go straight to the most invasive test. If you don't like that, Tobias, this isn't the right team for you. All I'm saying is that a biopsy is the clearest way to rule out the most brain illnesses. Maybe. But until we rule out some more likely options, it's unnecessarily risky. On that note... Oh, for the love of... Tobias and Ethan freeze and glance at Bloom, as if only to... Just remembering he's there, Ethan goes red, but Tobias grins. Forgive me for getting too passionate about this. There's no need for our disagreement to devolve this way. Oh, I'm sure he's seen worse in company boardrooms. You're not wrong. Besides, this is precisely why I brought Tobias on board. Competition always helps foster better ideas, and it's clear to me that the two of you will be competing for every cure. He beams at the two men, who exchange a startled look. This is called being an alpha male that only thinks about himself. Having said that, I'd point out that there's one aspect I expect cooperation on. We've established cases are chosen democratically, have we not? I hadn't forgotten, all in favor. You, Ethan, and Harper all hold up your hands up at once. Tobias makes a show of hemming and hawing and grins and puts his hand up as well. Excellent. Well, I must be going. Best of luck with the patient. This democracy thing is a sham. He sweeps out nonchalantly, leaving a tense silence in his wake. Finally, Harper breaks it, quietly getting to her feet. I'll get started on those electrolyte tests and a full metabolic panel while we're waiting for the patient to wake up. Page me when you get the results. Once you don't find anything, I'm betting that biopsy will sound like a smart move it is. He grins, earning a sharp inhale from Ethan, and turns to go, stopping just inside the door. Oh, and Ethan, I'm very, very excited to work with you. Tobias saunters out after Harper, and Ethan's shoulders sag. Oh, I think I need to clear my head. I'm gonna take a quick walk. Page me if anything comes up. If you wanted to join. But no. I'm sure you're busy. Don't let me bother you. Poor Ethan. He looks so frustrated. I bet he really needs a chance to work through this with someone he trusts. Join Ethan on his walk to learn more about his past with Tobias and help him feel better about the future. Meh. A walk sounds perfect. I'm in. Are you sure? I don't want you to feel obligated. I'm sure. Let's get out of here before Bloom comes back with more surprises, huh? Excellent point. Let's go. You and Ethan walk side by side to the park surrounding the hospital. Ethan takes large strides, forcing you to hurry to keep up. Hey, Ethan, slow down. I don't have the right shoes on for a sprint. Sorry, I just move quickly when I'm agitated. Oh, then it sounds like you need to calm down. Stop a minute and just smell the roses, literally. Ethan smirks at your suggestion, but he does stop, bending over to inhale the fragrance of one of the many rose bushes planted near the hospital. When he stands up, he lightly smiles. I suppose it's a cliché for a reason, So, what the hell happened in there? I assume you're referring to the friction between myself and Tobias. Friction more like a forest fire from where I was standing. Things did get a bit more intense than I wanted. I suppose my only excuse is that things between us are complicated. I'm gonna need you to give me little more than that. Ethan sighs, staring at a rose bush before beginning to walk away, though a bit more slowly this time. You know, Tobias and I have known each other a long time. Since medical school, right? That's right. Even then, conflict was part of our dynamic. Challenging each other helped us both become better doctors. And I'll admit, Tobias is an excellent doctor. But we've never seen eye to eye on what our main goal is. What do you mean? I've always thought my primary goal was to help the patients. I don't mean that as an abstract way, I mean specifically. I'm there to make sure each and every individual we treat has the best chance they can. And Tobias? Let's say he has more of a 3,000-foot view on medicine. I think the puzzles have always interested him more than the people. When we were younger, the difference was academic, but to be on a team together, I'm not sure it can possibly work. We're too different. Ethan... couldn't that be an asset? How do you figure? I know you're not the biggest fan, but Bloom could be right about this. Tobias is never going to offer the same approach as you, but isn't that the goal for our team, to get as many different ideas out as possible? I take your point. I just worry the personal issues between Tobias and I might overshadow that. If you don't mind my asking, what exactly happened between you two that created so much bad blood anyway? Ethan sighs, kicking a few stones off the path. Do you remember last year when we were on Bloom's yacht? I talked about how he and I used to be friends until we weren't. I remember. You said you were both always competing for the same things and that caused bad blood? Exactly. Though not at first, it got bad over time, slowly but surely, once the things we competed over had higher stakes. Tobias got more ruthless, more resentful, and I admit, I didn't handle winning or losing as gracefully as I should have. But I'm not sure it would have mattered in the end. No friendship could have survived what Tobias did to me. What are you talking about? We were both eyeing the spot on Naveen's diagnostics team, or more accurately, fighting tooth and nail for the opening. But Tobias didn't fight fair. I'm not exactly sure what he did, but Naveen more or less confirmed he was trying to sabotage me. It would have been fine to lose to him in a fair fight, but he was set on winning. That fair stopped mattering to him anymore. After that, I couldn't respect him, and he couldn't forgive me for getting the job he'd wanted so badly. And now, after all that, you both ended up on the team anyway. Speaking of Naveen, whatever happened to him? Ironic, really, but after everything that's happened and all the years in between, I think it's too late for that to fix anything. Know what I think you should do? I suspect you're about to tell me. Kinda like Naveen. He probably went into retirement. I think you should stay focused on the patients. Ignore Tobias. He's not what matters here, right? But how can I when he insists on ignoring patient needs in favor of a flashy solve? Who cares? Let him play his games if he wants to. You don't have to participate. Our patients don't care whose idea wins. They just need to know someone's looking out for them. You can be that person. Ethan closes his eyes and takes a deep breath. When he opens them again, he seems a bit calmer. You're right, of course. I can't let him pull me down to his level. I need to remember what matters. I know it won't always be easy. Just remember, you're still in the majority. Whatever Tobias' goals are, Harper and I are firmly on the side of making sure our patients get the treatment they deserve. Thank you, Casey. You always know what to say to cut the heart to the heart of the matter. Perhaps I missed my true calling as a therapist. If so, I'm glad. The team would be worse for your absence. I don't know. Considering the new dynamic, I might decide it's time for a career change. Speaking of that, let me return the favor and give you some advice on how you can work best with Tobias. Tobias is a relentless competitor, but he's a good doctor. And he can be charming, funny, and good to work with. As long as you're on his good side. In my experience, the best way to stay on his good side is to let him have the spotlight. Let him get credit, and he'll be your new best friend. Let me guess, you weren't so good at doing that? Let's just say I don't usually care about who gets credit, but every rule has its exceptions. Is that enough of a payment for your team to retain your therapeutic services, Dr. Valentine? Nope. Today's session is gonna cost you... Oh... You do this to me. A cup of coffee or a kiss. This is the most difficult decision I've made in my entire life. I'll go with a kiss. I can always get the coffee, too. Ethan stops and turns to look at you, eyes blazing with amusement and something hungrier. You drive a hard bargain, Casey. I disagree. I think my fees are very reasonable. You feel Ethan chuckle against your lips before calming them with his own, kissing you deeply and sweetly amongst the roses. Ethan. Not to denigrate your excellent advice, Casey, but kissing you is much more calming overall. As if to punctuate the thought, he kisses you again, his palms warm against the nape of your neck, the small of your back. You wrap your arms around him tightly, kissing back until you're breathless. At last, you part, both panting. Lightly traces a thumb over the corner of your lips, making you shiver. We should go. The patient will be waking up soon, and we'll need to be there to assess his symptoms. True, but they'd have paged us if he was ready. Ethan laughs softly and kisses you one last time, quick but affectionate. Come on, we have a patient to help. You're lucky that you're cute when you're being principled. You're cute, full stop. Now, shall we? He extends a hand, and you interlace your fingers with his to walk back inside the hospital together. You and Ethan on your way to the patient's room when you're nearly run over by a familiar face. Like how they had to punctuate that.
Please clear a path. Meal delivery to patients underway.
Oh, we have things to do, and this tin can is blocking the way.
Please do not attempt to interfere with patient meal delivery.
Oh, this overgrown toy is just a nuisance. Binks has continued rolling down the hall, but at the sound of anger in Ethan's voice, he stops and wheels around.
You sound frustrated. May I offer assistance?
What is this thing talking about?
I am programmed to recognize certain vocal frequencies. Your voice has registered for anger and/or distress. For hospital directions, please say I'm lost. For hospital directory, please say phone numbers. To speak to a nurse...
What do I have to say to make you go away?
You say Binks? We don't need help. Are you sure? My assistance may help you overcome your anger and/or distress.
Oh, you heard her. Go report to your overlord. What he means is, Binks, please continue meal delivery.
You have asked me to resume meal delivery.
Just tell me when it's gone. He steps off to one of the nearby break nooks, obviously fuming as he sips through the fruit basket. After a few seconds, Binks seems to reboot.
Please clear a path. Meal delivery to patients underway.
He turns and wheels back down the hallway. Once he's out of range, you turn to Ethan. Are you okay? Now that the calculator is gone, I'll be fine. Why do you hate Binks so much, anyway? Every time I see it, I think of a waste of time and money it is, not to mention what an imposition it is on the nurses. Actually, from what I've heard, the nurses and aides love him. Really? Why? Well, for one thing, he takes a ton of scout work off their hands, and now that he's handling things like scan prep, sample delivery, bedpan duty, it means they can focus on larger issues. And besides that, he's a big hit with the patients. Novelty or not, he seems to really cheer them up. Happier patients make nurses' lives easier. I hadn't considered that angle. Perhaps it does add some value to the hospital, but it's a symptom of a bigger problem. A bunch of Bloom's money has gone to flashy upgrades rather than actual helping us treat patients. Flashy? Bloom's new research labs are pretty impressive. Our researchers were doing good work before Bloom came along. Even you can't pretend all the new equipment hasn't helped them. And don't forget the new medical equipment either. Remember how long we used to have to wait for the MRI machine? True, but that
This is just excessive.
I disagree. You may not like Bloom the person, but he's made the meaningful upgrades to the hospital.
You're right about the labs, at least.
The two of you look over at the nurse's station, watching the staff pore over the bright new touch screens. Ethan sighs.
Pretty gilding, but a gilded cage is still a cage.
Giving Binks a wide berth, the two of you head into your patient's room. You enter the room to find your patient, an elegant middle-aged gentleman looking out the window, humming a tune to himself. Ethan immediately perks up.
Is that Queen of the Night you're humming?
Indeed. Another aficionado of the magic flute, I see. But where are my manners? Francis Llewellyn. I do hope you'll be able to help me.
We'll certainly give it our best shot. I'm Dr. Ethan Ramsey. This is Dr. Casey Valentine.
Lovely to meet you. Francis, can you tell us in your own words what your symptoms have been?
Well, at first the occasional headache, some muscle weakness, that sort of thing, just chalk up to being on the wrong side of 40. But a seizure seemed a bit much, so I decided to pay you all a visit.
Can I ask you... about any recent changes to your routine? Any new medication, international travel?
If only. Honestly, the most exciting things I've done lately is add more fiber to my diet. Does that set off any alarm bells?
Not particularly, but we'll certainly keep it in mind. How are you feeling?
Well, enough. I just wish I had better timing. I have tickets for Tosca tonight. It's the last performance of the season.
If it makes you feel any better, you aren't missing anything. Last year's production was far superior.
Well, I suppose you'll have to make sure I'm out of here in time for Carmen. My husband James should be home for his business trip by then. It's one of our favorites.
I'm sure they'll do a bang-up job with it. But I have to say, I've never fully connected with Carmen.
Oh, what do you prefer?
Turandot, no question. Nessun Dorma is one of my best arias in all of opera.
Ah, connoisseur, clearly. And what about you, Dr. Valentine? What's your favorite?
My favorite opera? If I had to choose... Otello. I know it's not the most popular Verdi opera, but I have a soft spot for it.
I couldn't agree more. Verdi and Shakespeare is a potent combination.
Both.
Out of the corner of your eye, you catch Ethan raising an eyebrow at you, a frankly impressed look on his face.
So, Francis, what do you do when you're not at the opera?
Write, research, like my life depends on it. I'm an investigative journalist. When I'm not digging up a story, I teach at Boston Northeast University. I was tempted to pursue medicine when I was younger, though. It must have been immensely satisfying, helping people and solving mysteries every day.
Funny enough, I once considered journalism as a career for almost the exact same reasons.
As Francis and Ethan laugh and exchange small talk, you use the opportunity to check Francis's chart for yourself. You idly flip through until you notice something. Francis, I don't see anything here about a do not resuscitate order. You don't have one?
No, I don't. Is that an issue?
I just want to be clear that if something happens, you want us to take any and all life-saving measures.
Why are they pointing this specifically out?
Typically, no nurse or doctor points out you do not have one. They actually, if you see that you have one, will go counterproductive of it and be like, are you sure you want to enforce that at this hospital?
I mean, I wouldn't want to be a vegetable forever. That wouldn't be much of a life. But I'm sure we don't need to worry about that now. I mean, we're not there yet, are we?
Not yet. It just never hurts for us to clarify things. Seizures are a fairly serious symptom, after all.
In that case, I'll make sure to think it over.
Okay, Pixelberry's handled this horrifically wrong so far. For now, we'll grab a few samples. Oh, and before I go, Francis, did you manage to catch audio?
I did. It was lovely, but... strange.
As you all at Francis's face clouds over and he blinks, frowning and confusing. Francis, is everything okay? Are you in pain?
Not pain, it's just
He's having trouble focusing.
I can't see you anymore. Either of you, in fact. I can't see anything at all.
As soon as you finish the consult, you and Ethan desperately run over possible explanations for Francis's sudden blindness. Blood clot, maybe? Or maybe something that damaged the optic nerve?
Possibly, but he didn't mention any other vision problems. Of course, it could be simply a migraine, but it's a rare that they develop this late in life.
If it were optic neuritis, it could indicate multiple sclerosis. It would be late onset, but you never know.
True. Perhaps Tobias wasn't entirely misguided to try and rule that out early. And of course, there's always infection, sarcoidosis. We need to start narrowing down the field. Why don't you run some of the labs for all the candidates we mentioned while I look into the neuritis. If it's progressed this far already, the infection's causing it to be endangering much more than the eyes.
And the blindness might be permanent.
Exactly. For a man like Francis.
Ethan pauses, cutting his words short. Ethan, it would be hard for anyone.
Of course. I didn't mean to imply otherwise. It's just that so much of what Francis loves has a strong visual component. Opera performances, theater, travel, art.
It's still possible to enjoy those things, even with vision loss, and we don't know it's permanent just yet.
Absolutely. But it would be a hard adjustment for after all those years.
It reminds me of the artist from last year, Evelyn. It was so hard telling her that she'd be permanently blind.
Well, then let's do everything we can to make sure we don't have to give Francis the same news.
I'll head to the lab now. Your first round of lab tests ruled out the most aggressive infections that fit the symptoms. You start another set of tests and head out to do your rounds when you spot Raph speaking with a familiar athlete.
Casey, I was hoping I'd see you. You remember Pedro, right? Star pitcher for the Marauders.
I'm not sure if you can call me that right now. Not until you finish fixing this bum shoulder right up. Of course I remember Pedro. Raph's really thrilled to be able to help fix you up.
Huh, this is what she's gonna call me out for being such a dork about the team.
You said it, not me. Hey, I'm just lucky my PT is a fan. Otherwise I'd probably be off the field twice as long.
Before you say anything, yes. I just get all my fanboying in after our scheduled sessions.
Speaking of the team, would you be interested in seeing tonight's game? I'd go, but the meds I'm on are really wiping me out. VIP guest tickets. Not just any tickets. Wait, what does that say?
But these are for the owner's box.
Yeah, they wanted me to be comfortable, considering how much you've been doing for me. I'd say you've earned them.
Wow, that's so generous of you. Of course I'd love to go. Casey, you in?
Raph glances at you with an inviting smile on his face and a quirk of his eyebrow. Join Raph in the luxurious owner's box for a chance to enjoy the game in privacy. I'm so in. Thanks so much, Pedro. This will be incredible.
Hey, my pleasure. Have a great time, you two.
Smiling, you head off to do your rounds with a spring in your step. The rest of the day passes uneventfully with no updates on Francis's tests. As you shift winds down, you hurry to get the changed and run outside to meet Raph.
Ready to head out?
Let's do this. The two of you arrive at the stadium, where you're escorted to a luxurious box suite with a perfect view of the field. Raph is giddy with delight.
This is incredible. Have you ever been in a box this awesome?
Never. This place looks nicer than in my apartment. Can we just live here now?
Whoa, check out the food.
He gestures to a table under the weight of the appetizers and drinks of every kind. Joke's on them. I would have just been happy with a bag of peanuts.
Loving that they went heavy on the cheesy goodness. Where should we start?
Is that fondue? Nachos? Pizza. I go with some nachos. You can't eat anything too classy at a baseball game, after all. Any argument you make for nachos, I'm gonna be there for. Balancing a heaving plate of food in one hand and drinks in the other, you both make your way to a table situated in the front of a giant floor-to-ceiling window. This view is incredible. I'm gonna make it, it's gonna make it hard to go back to the cheap seats afterwards. That's for sure. Are you a big baseball fan, Casey? Me? I know a little bit about it. I can follow the rules well enough, and I like watching the occasional game, but I'm not tracking player stats or anything. Then all you need to know is, go Marauders. I take it you're a big Marauders fan. No, really. Have been my whole life. Some of my best memories as a kid are going to see Marauders play. The whole neighborhood would go together, sit in the nosebleeds, eat popcorn. It was perfect. Wow, the whole neighborhood? One of the star players at the time grew up a few blocks from me. Sort of made it feel like the Marauders were our team. No wonder you're such a huge fan. I bet getting to treat Pedro must be exciting. That's an understatement. He's one of the most talented pitchers in the history of the baseball, but he also seems like a genuinely decent guy. He's friendly with all the nurses and other PTs. Sounds like a pretty low bar to clear. Fair, but he's also started a lot of scholarship funds for young athletes, and he even used to come in to visit sick kids before he got injured. Honestly, it's kind of hard to wrap my head around the fact that I get to see him every day. He talks to me like he's just another guy, you know? I think... that's awesome. It must be exciting to be treating someone whose career you followed for so long. You better learn than someone with so much success is genuinely kind, caring individual. And it's extremely rare. Has it ever happened to you? I mean, treating someone famous. Not someone I'm personally a fan of, but you never know when a touring K-pop band is going to come down with a really mysterious symptom. Hey, stranger things have happened. Look at me. I'm living proof. The crowds below cheers. The first inning finishes. The Raptors head out onto the field while Marauders prepare to bat. This should be interesting. The Raptors have some phenomenal outfielders. And now that Pedro's on the bench, they might have the edge in pitching. He points to a new pitcher who's practicing his windup. That's Rod Harmon, their new pitcher. He's got a phenomenal fastball, over 95 miles an hour. The only pitcher who's faster than that is Pedro. But the Marauders have a great bench of batters this season. I think they could pick up a run. Who's that heading to the plate? Don Rodrigo. He's been batting a little inconsistently this season, but when he hits big. Friendly wager? Do you think he'll strike out or get a hit? When he hits big. He'll get a hit. Really? And what are you willing to wager? We'll decide on that once I win. Down on the field, batter and pitcher face off. Harmon winds up, throws, and strike! Oh, so tense. Harmon winds up again, throws. Once more, the ball hurls over the plate at high speeds. Strike two! Oh man, I can hardly watch. Yep, really suspenseful shit here. Harmon winds up again, throws the ball. Crack! Rodrigo hits the ball with all the strength, sending it sailing into the sky, out of the stadium. Whoa, that's a home run. Woohoo, I knew that. Always bet on the Marauders, they never let you down. What do I win as my prize? With a home run like that, anything you won. Then go make me a coffee. In that case, I want your lips on mine. Choices. They give you such a flimsy relationship with Raph that you're just disinterested at this point if you're me. Unofficial Marauders foam finger. Can't end a night like this without a souvenir. A very classy one. Foam fingers make every game better. I wonder how you find the vendor from up here. I bet they have a button you can press, or like a private concierge that handles that sort of thing. Good point. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, and a quick call, there's a discreet knock on the box door. You open it and you find a basket with 2 foam fingers, some plastic pennants, and a bag of popcorn. You got one for yourself too?
Gotta commemorate the occasion, right? Well, properly equipped, the two of you cheer your way through the rest of the game. Look, it's a lasting memory, okay? The next day, you hurry into the hospital lab early, hoping the test you left running overnight have turned up something. No Lyme disease, no measles, no mumps, STDs are all negative. It looks like Tobias and Ethan's tests all come back negative too. We're running out of likely options. How much more of his symptoms are going to be worsened before we figure this out? Frustrated, you slam the test results on the table just as Jackie walks into the lab. Whoa, Casey, are you okay? Honestly, I'll be fine. Just frustrated. I guess I needed to vent. And did taking it out on the table help? Not particularly. Let's start from the beginning. What's wrong right now? You give her a quick overview of Francis's mysterious symptoms and your inability to turn up any hints on the cause. Worst part is I'm out of ideas. Everything that made sense to test for, even some things that really didn't make sense, came back negative. Maybe what you need is a shift in perspective. You've been looking at this for too long. I was dropping to some of the samples. I'm on my lunch break now. How about I take you to the boxing gym around the corner? How will that help? You let out frustration. You never know. Exercise always clears my mind, and no matter what, staring at test tubes while you run your latest round of labs isn't going to get you an answer any faster. Exercise, Does that mean I get to see you all sweaty? If you're lucky, though I'm more excited about making you sweat. Da-dum. It would be nice to blow off some steam right now. Visit the boxing gym with Jackie will not only give you a chance to work out some frustration, but give you an important new perspective on the case that might just save your patient. I like how they say might. A gym, a woman. Dreams do come true. Listen, I'm a simple man, okay? I'm a simple man. Trust me, you won't regret it. Here's hoping a couple punching bags will... You set a few more tests to run. Ambiosis is usually the tropical disease, but you're grasping at straws and head down to the locker room to get a change with Jackie. Well, he did say his husband did travel, so... You step into a small but lively boxing gym filled with people of all ages and sizes, skipping rope, working on punching bags, and taking turns in the large ring. This place looks pretty intense. Are you more into boxing than I realized? I've been doing it since I was 14, so almost definitely. My family figured it was a healthy way for me to vent my teenage issues. Turns out they were right. Sounds like something I could use right now, but I've never really boxed before. Don't worry, we'll start you off nice and slow. Sparring can wait for when you're a total pro like me. After helping you pick out some equipment, Jackie guides you over to an empty corner. Alright, so do you want to try the punching bags or the pad mitts? Well, what's the difference? Punching bags are for strength, pad mitts are for speed. The pads are better for accuracy and coordination, but nothing beats punching the bag for sheer stress relief. In that case, I'll try the punching bag. Alright, let's get you set up. She takes a position behind the bag, holding it steady for you. Start by throwing a couple light punches, right here at the bag. Like this. You thrust one fist forward, then another, lightly tapping the middle of the bag. Not bad. Now get a bit closer. Bend your arms. Put your body behind your punches. Let me show you. She moves into a boxer stance, jabbing out with her front fist, then pivoting to punch again with the other. That's your basic jab and a cross. Now you try. You follow instructions and are gratified to feel a little bit more impact with the leather. Nice. I can feel those all the way back here. How's my form? Really solid, actually. Alright. Feet apart, fists up. This time I want you to hit as hard as you can, okay? Okay, I'll try. Try not to break your wrist. This is a good way for amateurs to break their wrists when they're first starting. You try and hit the bag again with all your might, but the heavy padding barely even wobbles.
Oh, come on, Casey. That wasn't a punch. That was a love tap. My left pinky could punch better than that. Is that supposed to be a pep talk? Boxing's a tough love sport. This time when you punch, I want you to really get behind it. Really mean it.
She's really hoping you'll break your wrist.
Any suggestions on how to do that? Honestly, just imagine Declan Nash's smug face dead center on the bag. It's amazing how motivating it is. It doesn't have to be a person, though. Just focus on something that frustrates you. Imagine yourself smashing through it.
Me trying to actually smash through the subscription button that you all should be pressing if you're not subscribed already.
Durian fruit?
What?
That's perfect. All the pleasure of venting your frustration with no one giving you a hard time for breaking hospital equipment or giving the janitors more work. You picture a stack of papers, each one of Francis's test results. Negative, 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 negative. In your mind's eye, you picture the test results, the lack of an answer, then you throw a punch. This time, the bag rocks back against Jackie's chest with a deeply satisfying thump. That's more like it again. You punch it again and again and again, each time a little harder. Sweat starting to run down your forehead as you release the frustration that's been building up inside you. Man, you do have some steam to blow off, huh?
You could say that?
So what's been bugging you so badly?
Did we not discuss this at the beginning of this?
Right now, not being able to help this patient. It seems so simple and he was right, but we still have no clue what's going on. I get it, but this can't be the first time you struggle with a diagnosis. No, but usually you eventually start to get closer to an answer. Here, there are no tests to do. I've tried everything. While Francis keeps getting worse, he might be at risk of permanent blindness, and I can't help him at all. It feels so useless. You punctuate your anger with another hit, so it hits her so hard it rocks Jackie back on her heels a little. That's it. Get it out. It's so frustrating. The case, the team, the hospital, it's all making me feel so tangled up, like a knotted hose with the water on full blast. Punctuate each phrase with a punch, harder, faster, stronger.
I feel like we're gonna break into song and dance here in a minute.
It's starting to make me feel like I might explode. You hit the leather with all your might, all your emotions focused in a single blow. This time Jackie lets a bag swing free, and your force swings it high into the air. That's what I'm talking about. So how do you feel now? You take stock of yourself, sweating, panting for breath, aroused. I'm not even making that one up. I'm done here. And feel more than a little feral. Better, actually.
It is actually what an effect of working out does to you. It actually really is.
Less explosive? No. I'm explosive right now. On the mat, let's go. Definitely. I'm still upset by all that stuff, but there's less pressure in my head, if that makes sense. Like I said, doing it since I was 14... Her eyes cast over the muscles in your arms, tense and slick with sweat. She raises an eyebrow, pursing her lips. So, anything else that would help you feel better after that? Actually, I wouldn't mind a shower with you. Lucky for you, this gym has private shower stalls. Brrr. You barely get the door shut behind you before the two of you are kissing, hot, hungry, and sweaty. You almost slam Jackie into the shower wall, earning a laugh and a coo from her throat. Fumbling, you manage to pull off your sweaty gym clothes and hers, tossing them in the drape over the stall door. Jackie hums as you turn on the shower spray. A little too cold. I don't know. Feels pretty steamy to me. You turn up the heat for the water, and then turn up the heat for the kiss, swallowing her moans as your tongue slips between her parted lips. She makes small, eager noises in her throat as you kiss her breath away. She wraps her legs around you as your hands grab at her damp, bare skin, lifting her up against the wall. Clearly, I need to get you in a fighty mood more often. Definitely not disagreeing with that. Your lips drift from her mouth to her neck, sucking and teasing her as she laughs and coos in pleasure, intertwined beneath the hot water, skin slipping against wet skin. Her legs squeeze you tighter, and your arms wrap around her. Your palms slide down the damp skin of her stomach and back, following the water droplets lower and lower. When suddenly you hear a beeping from a gym bag on the bench outside. Jackie sighs. And that's the alarm telling me to get the hell back to work. Just 5 more minutes. Any other time I'd say yes, but I don't want to be that one that loses us the long lunch hours and easy schedules. And with one last kiss, Jackie flips off the water. Jackie, thank you for this. I feel a lot clearer now.
No you don't, let's be real.
Always glad to help, Casey. And don't worry, I intend to take a rain check on this shower. Laughing, she slips out of the change, leaving you to take a calming, slightly colder shower. You walk back to work feeling both clean and delightfully dirty. Never understood why people take cold showers after getting all pent up.
Just finish it, damn it.
Later, you're on your rounds, still distracted by the lack of your answers to your patient's case, when your pager buzzes with bad news. Oh no, it's Francis. You arrive in Francis's room to find Ethan and Tobias already there, Tobias checking pupils dilation, while Ethan speaks quietly to Francis.
Francis, I need you to listen to my voice. Do you know where you are?
What? I don't...
He's clearly confused, and it sounds like he's having trouble speaking. Try to relax, Francis. I know things are scary, but just try and lie back and let us help you, okay? Ethan, this is a long shot, but maybe hum some of the opera songs he loves? It might calm him down? Ethan nods tersely, then begins humming a beautiful haunting tune to Francis. For a moment, it seems to work. Francis relaxes slightly as he looks at Ethan, eyes wide. But it's only a moment. Francis's eyes cloud over with panic, and he pushes Ethan away. Francis struggles to get out of the bed, and before any of you can stop him, he's on his feet and then tumbles to the ground. Unable to stand, Tobias catches hold of him. Casey, help me get him back into the bed. You rush to steady Francis, feeling a renewed rush of worry and frustration that you still have no leads as to this mysterious illness. The image of the knotted hose about to burst that you called up at the gym flashes into your head again. Wait. It's starting to make me feel like I might explode. I think it's artificial malformation. An AVM? Where'd you get that from? It's a hunch, but I think it's right. There's a tangle of blood vessels in the brain, and they're gonna burst. Yeah, it's also known as a embolism, but it would explain all the symptoms, but how would we... Hold that thought. If there's even a chance that this is right, we need to get him to the CT scanner now. But Tobias and Ethan work in tandem to get Francis stabilized and onto a stretcher, and the three of you rush him to a CT scanner. You've got him bundled into the machine and are rushing to get a new scan when a warning light goes up and Francis's body begins shaking and jerking inside the machine. Damn it, he's seizing again. We're running out of time. We need to induce a coma to keep his brain safe. Luckily, the anesthesiologist arrives just in time. As Francis drifts away, you and the others finish the scan and check the image. Look, there it is. How did the admitting doctors miss this? You saw the scans, it was too small to detect. Since he's been here, it's worsened significantly. Thank God you thought of this, Casey. I just wish I'd caught it earlier. You point to a telltale shadow of blood on the scan, showing that the AVM has started to hemorrhage.
Paige Harper immediately. Tell her to meet us on the way to the OR.
Rush Francis to the operating room. A team of nurses working to stabilize him. Harper meets you in the hallway.
Good, you're here. Prep your team for surgery. We need to remove the AVM now.
What? You mean, prep the transplant team, right? You saw those scans. He's not waking up from this.
We don't know that. Besides, the patient has no DNR on file. We have an obligation to do everything we can to save him.
You told us he didn't want to be a vegetable. That's exactly what he's in for if we do this.
Patients can and do make miraculous recoveries.
Ethan, he's gone. But he could still save others with his organs. If you put him through a risky, difficult surgery, we risk those organs failing entirely. Let me reiterate, the surgery won't do anything for him.
What you're proposing is giving up on him entirely. Casey caught the AVM early. There's a good chance the brain damage will be minimal.
There's a chance, but the odds are still against him.
Guys, I need a decision now. If I'm doing an AVM removal, every second counts. Ethan and Tobias glare at each other and then turn to you. If this team's a democracy, it looks like you're the deciding vote. I'm gonna have to think about this one for a minute. I will comment about this at the end of the video. Here we go. You have to try and save him. We can't give up on him. Not yet. Alright, it's go time, people. Harper starts shouting orders to the nurses, and the three of you make your way out of the room.
You made the right decision, Casey.
I hope so. I really, really hope so. A tense, uneasy silence settles over the three of you as, by silent assent, you trail back to the diagnostics office to wait for the news. The minutes seem to draw out forever. Eventually, Ethan gets up and makes 3 cups of coffee. Tobias only hesitates briefly before accepting as hours pass and the tension builds. Until at last, when you feel about ready to burst, Harper comes in, face grim and tired. The AVM has been removed. The patient survived the procedure.
And?
Hard to tell. Chances are he'll have at least some long-term effects. But he's breathing on his own already. I'm hoping that he'll be able to make a meaningful recovery. Ethan lets out a long, relieved breath. Tobias looks less convinced, but his grim expression softens somewhat. Looks like we're all lucky Casey's such a quick thinker. You finish the rest of your shift in a bit of a haze, going through the motions. When it's over, you can't help but go and see for yourself. You head to the ICU and stand outside the window at Francis's room, looking in the bed. Oh my god, he's already conscious. After a major brain surgery, that has to mean something. And yet it can mean nothing. On closer inspection, however, he seems unable to focus on the world around him, or the man holding his hand. Francis, darling, can you hear me? It must be Francis's husband. What a thing to come home to. Darling, it's me, James. I'm here, please, say something. It's okay, Francis, I'm here. I'll always be here. You can't be sure, but you think you see the hint of a smile flitter over Francis's lips at the sound of the other man's voice. It's early, but I have to believe we caught this in time. Swallowing a haw past the lump in your throat, you turn and leave, heading downstairs and out of the hospital. Outside, the cool night air calms you a little. You look up at the night sky, trying to find the answers in the stars above. Did I make the right call? Of course, the stars don't answer. Sighing, you turn and trudge for home, knowing that you won't get much sleep tonight. I hope we did the right thing for you, Francis. With a heart-wrenching decision you had to make, fracture the team even further. Keep playing to find out. First and foremost, thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down description below, links to social media, Discord, and if you'd like to support me and my content. Now to get on to what I'd like to say. So, first and foremost is with an AVM, even if he was significantly more damaged in the brain, his organs and everything else were still functioning, and you could also put the individual on bypass. So what that means is, basically, the most of the organs, the body will still function, but yes, organs will start breaking down. You still have the ability to have a transplant team take over, take out the viable organs that he has, and get them to the people that are needed. And every second does count in terms of that too, because then you have the bypass machines and everything else that have to be taken away and yada yada yada. So basically, that's what happens. Pixelberry, I wish Pixelberry would do a little bit more deep medical research. It's kind of like they just go and just Google WebMD some shit and don't look into more definitive answers and whatnot. And it's kind of just really depressing as a person who's intellectually oriented, but someone who's very medically oriented as well. And you go talk to any doctor right now in any medical profession and have them play this book. Then there's some good calls. Don't get me wrong. There's some good calls that are very easy, like hypothyroidism. That was a good one. But when it comes to something like this, as a person who has an illness, and I have had to have the DNR talk, this is something that was actually handled really poorly. Like, this was handled really, really, really poorly. This was handled actually better with House, the TV show, and there was a musician, he had a DNR, like he was not wanting to be resuscitated, and House fought against it because he believed he had something that was curable and fixable, and he was correct. Not really a spoiler, figuring the show has been out for over a decade, so. But without further ado, once again, thank you all for watching. Catch you all later. Peace out.